Today, we're going to dig into one of the absolute smartest, most practical rules in the entire National Electrical Code. It's a super simple idea that saves money, prevents waste, and honestly, is just plain common sense. So let me just ask you this. When you're planning an electrical system, are you accidentally designing it for a situation that could literally never happen? It's a super common trap, and it leads to systems that are way overbuilt and cost a whole lot more than they need to. And this slide right here gets to the absolute heart of the problem. It's what I call the everything on myth. We often calculate for this crazy scenario where the furnace and the air conditioner are both running full blast at the same time. But just think about that for a second. When does that ever happen? Never. You're either heating your house or you're cooling it. You're not doing both. And planning for that impossible moment is exactly where the waste starts. Well, thankfully, the National Electrical Code, the good old NEC, has this brilliant common sense fix for this exact problem. You can find it in Section 220.60, and it's all about a concept called non-coincident loads. So what in the world are non-coincident loads? Well, the definition is pretty much right there in the name. It's just two or more electrical loads that are, really unlikely to be switched on at the same time. And the perfect classic example is the one we've been talking about, your heating system and your air conditioning. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The code itself puts it right there in black and white. The key phrase here is, it is unlikely. See? The code isn't about some theoretical maximum possible load. It's about acknowledging how we actually use electricity in the real world. This practical mindset is what makes this rule so powerful. Okay, so the code gets it. That's great. But how does that actually change the math? Let's dive into how you apply this rule to size a system the smart way. This is the beautiful part. It's so simple, it's genius. Instead of adding up all the non-coincident loads, the code says you only have to account for the single largest load from that group. So here's the takeaway. You find the biggest power hog among the items that won't run together, and that's the only number you need to worry about. We can literally break this down into 3 easy steps. First, you just identify your non-coincident loads. Heating and AC are the obvious pair. Second, you look at their power needs, how many watts they each draw. And third, you just pick the bigger number for your calculation. The smaller one, you just set to ignore it. It's that easy. Let's look at a quick example with some real numbers. Let's say your central heater is a 10,000 watt load, and your central AC is a 5,000 watt load. Now, you don't add them up to get 15,000 watts. No way. You simply take the bigger number, the 10,000 watts from the heater, and that's what you use for your calculation. The AC's 5,000 watts, it doesn't even factor into the main calculation. Now, just when you think it's that straightforward, and for the most part it is, the NEC throws in one little twist. And it's all about safety, of course. It specifically involves motors and air conditioning units because they have this unique power surge right when they kick on. And that twist? It all comes down to this number, 125%. So what is this for? Well, it's a built-in safety factor. But, and this is important, it only kicks in under a very specific condition. Here's the key. You only have to worry about this 125% multiplier if a motor or AC unit is in your non-coincident group, but it's not the biggest load. It's the code's clever way of making sure the system can still handle that initial startup kick from the motor, even if its regular running wattage is the smaller of the two. Okay, let's go back to our example and apply this little twist. The furnace is still our biggest load at 10,000 watts. The AC is the smaller one at 5,000 watts. Now, since the AC is a motor load and it's not the largest, we have to apply that safety factor. So we take its 5,000 watts and multiply it by 125%, which gives us 6,250 watts. But, and remember the main rule, we still only use the single largest load for the final calculation. In this case, that's still the 10,000 watt furnace, so even though we did the safety check, it didn't change our final answer here. But it's a critical step the code requires. So, let's just step back for a second and look at the big picture. What does a rule like this really accomplish? It's not just about crunching numbers, it's about a fundamentally better way to think about electrical design. At the end of the day, NEC 220.60 just leads to smarter designs because it reflects how we actually live. It stops us from oversizing our panels and our wiring, which of course makes projects way more cost-effective. And with that little 125% twist, it builds in an intelligent safety net just for motors. It's really the best of all worlds: smarter, safer, and cheaper. It really makes you think, doesn't it? This one simple, logical rule has such a huge positive impact on safety, cost, and efficiency. It kind of begs the question, what other elegant, common sense solutions like this are hiding in the systems all around us, just quietly making our world work a whole lot better?